800-275-8525. 800-275-8525.
Welcome to Fight for Life, a pro-life radio show discussing the ministry of First Choice Pregnancy Services here in Las Vegas. I'm Deborah, board member and executive director of First Choice Pregnancy Services.
And I'm Jessica, logistics specialist at First Choice Pregnancy Services.
We are ambassadors for the unborn. Welcome to the show.
Good afternoon, friends. Thanks for joining us today here on Fight for Life. This is Deborah. I'm on the phone today with Eve, and we have Melissa Clement. She is the director of the Nevada Right to Life, joining us for a awesome conversation. And let her give you the weekly stats, and then we'll dive into some good conversation.
Thank you so much, Deb, and thank you for joining all of us that are here at First Choice through our social media. For the week of November 2nd to November 8th, we did a total of 89 free pregnancy tests. 89, yes, you heard right. Wow. And free ultrasounds, a total of 58. We actually saw a huge increase this last 2 weeks, Deb, would you say? With the number of patients that are coming in, and mostly are abortion-minded patients.
Yeah, I think Eve and I were talking about it the other day. In just 3 days, we had 13 abortion walk-ins. That's women who have made up their mind to go to the abortion clinic in pursuit of an abortion or have an abortion scheduled that God providentially redirects into the door of First Choice.
Yes.
And I think we talked a little bit about this on the weekly update last week, but we haven't talked about it on the radio. There was a recent poll that came out in Nevada that abortions are up by 50%. And I said, well, that really makes sense because we're feeling it at First Choice, aren't we, Eve?
We sure are, and we're so glad God has us right there, so close to one of the busiest abortion clinics because God is guiding them our way first. God willing.
Yeah.
That
you want to give people a little taste of what today's been like down there, or yesterday? Yesterday was a little wild.
Yes, well, in the past 3 days, I want to tell you that we've been receiving patients. Not only are they local, they're actually outside of Las Vegas. They're coming from other states, such as Texas and Utah, Florida. There's certain states where abortion is legal, but they're so ahead, they're sending them this way, towards Nevada. And we're seeing more and more of these patients coming in. Within the last 3 days, I can tell you we've seen a total of over 60 patients.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had one day alone that was 24 or 25 pregnancy tests, right?
Yes. And these numbers, we're seeing them actually increase day by day. It's a sad thing at the same time. We're glad to help them, but it is a big reality check for all of us out there in the pro-life movement.
Yes. Has Melissa made it yet?
Yeah, she's right here.
Hi, Melissa.
I thought yes, she's right here.
Melissa and I swapped cities today. I'm calling in from Reno, and she's in Las Vegas. So I think she's coming home today or tomorrow, and I'm going back home tonight.
We've got both ends of the states covered at all times. That's how dedicated we are, right?
Yeah, I was looking forward to being with you in person there today, and my daughter won state volleyball, and she's a senior, and so my little kids yesterday were begging me, Mom, please let us go to her last game.
So
we made
exactly
a trip
where
up
you
to
should
Reno.
be. Yeah.
Yes, I said, I'm all in for my kids just like I am the babies. Let's do this. So Melissa and I were at Ahern on Tuesday night for the Carrie Lake event. And as we were sitting there together with Chris and Rachel, the stats were coming back in on the vote in Ohio.
Yes, it was a tragic night. You know, before I go any further, though, I want to just say thank you to both of you, Evie and Deb, and all of the volunteers over at First Choice, because those stats can sound like, just numbers, but there are a ton of volunteers behind each and every one of those contacts and saves, and you guys truly are the frontline warriors and heroes of the pro-life movement, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, we were talking about this the other night, and I told Melissa, well, it takes a team of us to make this work on all aspects. While we're laying it all on the line at First Choice. She's out there fighting the battles of legislation and trying to make sure that legislation going through is protecting the pregnancy centers and the work we're doing. So
Absolutely.
we're grateful for you and what you do, and that we're all on this team together.
100%. You guys
Can
are
you feel?
what's that? You guys are the foot soldiers. We are the air support.
Oh, I love that. Very nice.
Can you fill everybody in a little bit on what happened in Ohio the other night, and maybe a little bit more of what's happened over the past year in all the different states? As you were telling me, that was the 7th ballot.
Right. Well, and yeah, Tuesday night was a pretty tragic night, and a lot of people must wonder, why are we talking about Ohio? Well, Ohio is what we call a red state. It's Republican-led, and it's also very pro-life. And Planned Parenthood went in and put up a constitutional amendment, a state constitutional amendment that would protect reproductive freedom. So what is reproductive freedom? Well, we know that that's abortion. That's the basis of what they're trying to do, is to protect the right to kill unborn babies for all 9 months of pregnancy, for any reason or no reason, without any health regulations, without any obstacles whatsoever that would cause a woman to stop and think about what, maybe there is another choice, maybe there is another way, maybe life could win today. It will eliminate parental notification and consent laws that they have in Ohio. It basically was, an abortion protection amendment. And by abortion, I mean the abortionist is the only person who is protected in this situation. The unborn definitely aren't. Women definitely aren't. The state of Ohio definitely isn't. And so it was very tragic. It won by 13 points, which is just devastating.
Mind-blowing.
Devastating.
Oh, yes,
and
sure.
and you got to wonder, well, why is this happening? And it's happening across the nation. And as Deb mentioned, this is the 7th loss that we've had on a ballot measure concerning abortion since the Dobbs decision. And what it is the abortion industry makes a lot of money, and they have a lot of money to protect their ability to make a lot of money. And so $66.7 million, something like that, was spent on scaring women and scaring Ohio into thinking that the best way to protect women was this constitutional amendment. And they went in and they lied and said things like, women are going to die if you vote no on issue 1. And I was totally amazed at how much grassroots organization and strategy that Ohio had. I mean, there were thousands of people on the ground knocking on doors, talking to their neighbors, ballot harvesting, making phone calls, which is what we need.
Absolutely.
But we have got to figure out a way to combat the money that is going to pour into a state. And while go ahead.
They spent roughly almost the same amount that Kansas did to flip their state, huh? They spent $70 million, huh?
Right. And
Wow.
I just read something that the governor of Illinois, Pritzker, who is not a very good man, has dedicated $1 million to, I think, Nevada to do the same thing here. And
Wow.
And that leads me to the next thing. This is why we're watching Ohio, is because Planned Parenthood has already begun the process to get a constitutional amendment question on the 2024 ballot. So that's going to be in November, almost a year from now. A little less
Can
than
you
a
give
year.
a little more detail about what that is that they're working to get on the ballot next year, and then we'll dive into a little bit of what we're seeing at First Choice?
Absolutely. So it will basically It is also called a Reproductive Freedom Amendment, and it entails the right to make and effectuate decisions about all matters relating to pregnancy, including, without limitation, prenatal care, childbirth, postpartum care, birth control, vasectomy, tubal ligation, abortion, abortion care, management of miscarriage, and infertility care. Now, all of those things in there are currently legal and protected, and there's never really been a challenge to childbirth or postpartum care or miscarriage care or any of those things. So really, those are just thrown in there to make this more palatable. And then I'm going to be debating somebody who wants this, and I'm going to say, I don't think we should have abortion for all 9 months. And they're going to respond by saying, what, you don't want women to get miscarriage care? You horrible person. And they will use this to deflect on what this is really about. The way it's written means that we have very minimal regulation of abortion in Nevada. We are very much a pro-abortion state, sadly. We are working to change that.
That's a reality.
But we do have a couple of things. Like, for instance, it is codified into law and only subject to change by a vote of the people that up to 24 weeks, for any reason or no reason, a woman can get an abortion in Nevada. The only thing is she has to have a doctor do it, which, that's pretty minimal, and that protects the woman. We don't want a barber to do it. So, but that's in law. When this constitutional amendment passes, that goes out the window. So it means it doesn't matter who it is. It just has to be a provider of health care, which can be anything from, a masseuse to a dentist to an optometrist. I mean, it could be anything. And that is that's pretty upsetting. The other thing is that it is all 9 months. There cannot be a regulation. And they talk about, after fetal viability, the state can make regulations as long as it doesn't stop any abortions, basically. I mean, it's
alarming.
It's alarming.
Concerning.
It's alarming.
I'm sure we're going to see a number of increase in deaths due to abortion.
Right.
Because it's not experts doing it.
At first,
absolutely.
First choice, we already see women that are walking in with small baby bumps. Can you imagine when you have women, hopefully it never happens, but just to envision full-on pregnant women walking in to murder their babies is a frightening thought.
Right, absolutely. And, make no mistake that along with the unborn, services that provide, like you guys, frontline care to women in need and walk alongside women who are scared and want another way, you guys will be shut down. I mean, they've already tried to do that in the past. It's only a matter of time. I mean, they have said that this is, you guys are on the chopping block as well, because at the end of the day, it's not about choice. It's about a dead baby
and the money.
Money.
I just recently calculated at our banquet how many abortion walk-ins we had this year, and just calculated the minimum dollar amount for what an abortion starts at, which was like $650, and I took it times 300, and I think it was 77 abortion walk-ins we've had, and it came out to almost $250,000. And when you have an abortion done in the second trimester across the street from us, it's nearly $3,000. So when you start subtracting that from their income, ultimately boils down to child sacrifice and money. And when you have things that are preventing that, it just digs them in harder against coming for you.
Absolutely, yes. That you guys are an obstacle.
How can we help, or how can we get involved?
Oh, that is such a great question, and that's the most important thing. We've got to start right now, and every pro-life person needs to understand what this is, because the lies will come down the pike. We need every last pro-life person as an evangelist of how bad this is. you're going to be at the grocery store, and somebody's going to come up to you and ask you to sign a petition. And I guarantee it's not gonna be like, oh, hey, sign this petition on abortion, making it completely a free for all. It's going to be something that sounds good. They're going to lie to you. So the first step is decline to sign. Don't sign anything. Let's try and stop them. But the fact of the matter is, they have to get 103,000 signatures before June 26th. They've got millions and millions of dollars to do it, so they'll get it done. But we want to make it as hard as possible, and start by reaching out to Nevada Right to Life, my organization, NevadaRightsLife.org, and sign up to volunteer. We're going to need active chapters of pro-life people ready to go in every single county in the state. We're going to need about 4 chapters here in Nevada, or in Clark County, because we've got to get to every church. We've got to get to every neighborhood. This is the time to get to know your neighbors really well, so that they start looking to you as that person, that when they're going to fill out their ballot, they know Evie knows exactly how to vote from the top to the bottom. And the other side, this make no mistakes, this constitutional amendment is about getting their people out to vote. And they get their people to vote starting at the bottom, which is the constitutional amendments, and then they vote all the way up, and they vote in lockstep. So we've got to do the same thing. Our people need to vote no on the constitutional amendments, and then vote Republican all the way up, because the Democrat Party has pledged its allegiance to child sacrifice. And, I have many good friends who are Democrats, and I know that's not what they believe, but the people who run for office, they don't get to run for office as Democrats if they don't pledge allegiance to Planned Parenthood and the death of unborn babies.
Hey, Melissa, I was talking to Robin Sertel yesterday, the abortion survivor that we had at our banquet last month, and we were talking about Ohio a little bit, and she mentioned that it's going to take it to infanticide in Ohio. Are you familiar with any part of that?
Well, there really is no outside limit. At the end of the day, what's going to happen, it's a constitutional amendment, so judges will decide. And so, yeah, I could see how that happens, because, Nevada is a classic example. One of the other protections we do have is that after 24 weeks, a woman must get an abortion if she chooses to get an abortion. It has to be in a hospital so that there is adequate care for a baby who is born alive. And that is an ironclad law in Nevada. But if this constitutional amendment were to pass, that's an obstacle. So they would eliminate that, and there wouldn't be this requirement that you have to help the baby. So I could see where that would happen. Now, can I draw the steps 1, 2, 3 right now? No, but I believe she's absolutely right.
Okay. Melissa and us are going to be teaming together to fight this tooth and nail.
Yes.
And I just want to encourage anybody that's listening right now, particularly those who are post-abortive,
right,
to seriously pray about how God would have you use your voice on behalf of the unborn. The post-abortive woman has the most powerful voice out there to advocate on behalf of the preborn and life. And we need more people to stand up on this and make their voices heard. Share your stories with people. Tell them why abortion isn't a good option. Let them know how it's affected you and impacted your life. And even be willing so far to go so far as putting your face on a social media story or a TV commercial. It's nothing to be ashamed of. You are forgiven in Christ. And you can use a mistake in the past for God's glory in a very powerful and mighty way.
Absolutely.
I agree with you, Deb. I think we've all gone through deserts, and we had to go through certain situations in our life to be where we are now. We were talking about that earlier,
Right?
Weren't we, Melissa? So the same thing with exactly these women that at one point in their lives went through an abortion, that the enemy has used it for them to stay quiet and be shameful of it. God has made you free. And
Absolutely.
these are the strongest voices. I agree with Deb completely, for them to speak up and say, okay, now you understand why I had to go through that desert, because my voice is now much louder.
Your
on
story
behalf.
might be what makes the difference in the minds
hope.
of many people who are on the other side of
Absolutely.
the fence.
Yes, I agree. All right, we got 4 minutes. Could you, Melissa, if you don't mind, can you provide any resources as far as to these people, how they can find out more information and backgrounds on the people they're voting for?
Absolutely. Well, that is what Nevada Right to Life does. We are the political end of the pro-life movement. And so we spend a lot of time training candidates on how to speak about and how to advocate for the unborn. And then, I managed to talk to most all of them. So closer to the election, we'll have voter guides available. Best way to get on our list is to go to our website, NevadaRightToLife.org, and sign up for alerts. And we deliver them text message. We have them available. We can email them, all kinds of things like that. And it will be from the top of the ballot all the way down to to all the questions. And it is imperative that you vote on this, but also for school board members, because we're seeing our kids they're slipping away from us, and one of those reasons why is because we took our eye off the ball with school boards, and our schools have been infiltrated by some pretty some ideas that are not entirely what we think is right. What is the right to
Godless
life
influence.
and liberty? What and
Very godless influence.
Exactly. And I always hate to ask, and by no means do I mean cut short any donation that goes to First Choice Pregnancy Services, but please consider donating to Nevada Right to Life as well. You can find that on our website, because like I said, we're going to need at minimum $10 million, and probably a lot more than that, which is, kind of makes me nauseous and makes me want to throw up. But I know God will provide if that's what we're supposed to do.
Amen.
So,
I mean, and $10 million isn't a lot in comparison to what's coming up on the other side.
absolutely. And, don't believe the lies, folks. They're going to lie to you, and they're going to try and scare you. And the only thing I can say, even if you don't get our voter guide, vote for the Republicans from the top to the bottom, and vote no on as many questions as you possibly can, especially CO1.
All right. Melissa, what's your guys' website and a way to contact you guys if they want to get involved with you or look for more information?
NevadaRightToLife.org, and then we're on Facebook, Instagram. We're thinking about making the big plunge into Tickety-Tockety, but we'll see how that goes.
I'll be following you for sure. Well, I know if you want to go ahead and wrap up with something, you still have like a minute and 30 seconds. Go for it.
Well, that sounds good. Again, thank you to the pro-life movement in general. Like I said, in Ohio, there were thousands of people that their heart was changed by this, and they went out into the neighborhood and they had those conversations. We got to start having those conversations. We need to, here's another big ask for everybody listening. I want our materials and the fight to start in the churches. Our people are sitting in the pews on Sundays, and sometimes I worry that we've got some churches who think, well, we're going to talk about it on Sunday, but don't go outside. Or maybe we're not going to talk about it on Sunday. We need every church to start understanding that there is no separation of church and state, really, because the state will come in and close your church down, and the state will go after your children, and the state will kill the unborn. And it's time for the church to stand up and do what it's supposed to do, which is advocate for the least among us and to be Christ bearers.
Absolutely. Even if it's the hardest thing to do, it's a right thing to do.
Right. And
well, thanks for coming in. Sorry. I hear the time's almost up on us. Thanks for coming in today, Melissa. We'll look forward to having you back on next month when I'm home and you're in Vegas again.
That sounds great.
We will continue fighting the good fight with you on this end. Thanks, Eve, for holding down the fort over there. Thank you for listening today and joining us. We will be back again, Lord willing, next week to continue our battle on behalf of the preborn. God bless you.
God bless you.
Thanks so much.
We have social media. We want to share anything.
Thanks for joining your ambassadors for the unborn on the Fight for Life radio today and every Thursday on KKVV 1060 AM, the best news radio, the gospel airship.
If you'd like to support the cause of saving unborn babies, or if you have a question you'd like us to answer on the air, go to fcpsfriends.org or call us at 702-294-CARE. Again, that number is 702-294-2273.
On behalf of his little ones, thank you and God bless.